Welcome to this presentation on medieval bestiaries. What are bestiaries? Well, they come from the Latin term bestia, meaning beast or animal, and they are books about animals. They centered very much on allegories, much like Aesop's fables, using animal imagery to convey moral guidelines or lessons. And they had strong religious overtones based in Christianity. They were, in the 1920s, divided into families and categorized that way by M.R. James. Later on in the 1950s, Florence McCullough created these subdivisions under the families to indicate the bestiary that we had on hand into these different time periods. And parts of bestiaries may include physiologies, that's descriptions of the physical characteristics of the animals, etymologies, meaning the names and their significance, and then finally biblical stories were sometimes included, such as this image indicated here, which is from the book of Genesis. The figure at the top center in green and gold is Adam, and this is him naming all of the animals that God has created. And what did the animals represent? Well, they were a way of examining nature with a lens of spirituality, which means that they were not always scientifically accurate. A lot of these illustrations were based off of artist interpretation, and many of these animals were animals that artists had not ever actually seen before. As we can see here, the image of an actual crocodile versus the one that is drawn in the bestiary. The ridges on the back are correct, but the scale of the legs and the head are not. And mythical creatures were also included. Bestiaries did not make distinctions between real or mythical creatures. There were many animals that were popular in bestiaries, and we'll examine 3 of them. Dragons were a popular trope, as the king of serpents who could use their wings to make the air shiny. They were seen as very devious animals, and they represented Satan. Doves were also a popular trope. This is a symbol for the Holy Spirit, and it could be depicted with different colors, which had different meanings. The speckled dove in the middle here represents the 12 prophets from the Old Testament, and the gray dove on the top represents the prophet Jonah. Lions were another popular animal to portray, and they were seen doing the same things over and over again, such as erasing tracks with their tails or sleeping with their eyes open. And these all had significance in Christian faith. The picture here shows 2 adult lions with a dead cub. They were often depicted with their young born dead, and they were thought to be brought to life with their parents' breath, which is reminiscent of the resurrection on the 3rd day, as done by Christ. And after the 13th century, bestiaries fell out of fashion. Yet beasts remained in the marginal decorations of other books, such as Psalters, which we can see here in the image on the right with the tiger head in orange on the left-hand side of the image. And we hope that that helps with your understanding of medieval bestiaries.